Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Lee Company studio here in Columbia. It's been a while since we've been here.
Been road warriors, my friend, but it's good to be back.
And I am road weary. But yeah, it's good to be back. Once we got everything set back up and working the way it's supposed to, so we could grace you all via Twitter or X or YouTube or wherever it is you're watching. We appreciate you doing so and looking forward to this next couple of hours.
Going to be a big show, and we're back. And just when you thought basketball might be over with us, at least in terms of high school coming to a close, oh no, we got a lot to get into, and a lot of it revolves around basketball. Is college basketball. This is what you fight for all season long, and I'm excited for a good show today. Talk a little hoops on the program.
We're going to be talking some hoops. We're going to be talking some college hoops. We're going to be talking a little high school hoops still, because the Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee announced their Coaches of the Year yesterday once the season got over with, and there are some notable names locally on this list, so we'll be getting into that here later in the show. But yeah, it's March Madness, and none better than former Boston Globe sports editor Joe Sullivan, who now runs NashvilleHoops.blog, to join us and talk a little bit about the field of 68, and I'm sure some folks who aren't in the field.
Yeah, there's some snubs that we could get into with Joe, and there are quite a few storylines heading into tonight's games, which will be exciting.
Joe actually is in Dayton for the first four. It's a tradition for him, and it's pretty cool.
I like, these are some games that we've seen teams not only just win and advance, but we've seen teams win and make a little run.
Yeah.
So the fact that we've got Joe coming to us from Dayton will be exciting, and then that kind of just gets us. This is kind of just the appetite primer for what's really to come in just a couple of days.
Absolutely. Also in the second hour, as we typically do on Tuesdays, not always, but the overwhelming majority of the time, we will be checking in with the Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters, to get us up to speed on all things MTSU. Titans continue to make moves in free agency, man. It's like, who are you and what have you done with the Tennessee Titans? A couple of moves here in the last 24 hours that may have kind of run under the radar, but for a team that needed to upgrade, they are certainly trying to.
Yeah, they are at least looking the part of a franchise that is starting to put the ball in motion toward this rebuild. It's one thing to say you're rebuilding and then just kind of letting the pieces come to you. It's another thing to say you're rebuilding and going out and really rebuilding.
Them. Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So, and again, it's Top 5 Tuesday. Wade and I are going to bring you our best March Madness moments. And I'm trying not to be too much of a homer with mine, but it's really kind of tough. So stay tuned for that in the final segment. But right now, we probably need to give the people yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
All right, folks, we kick off the rundown. These are baseball scores from yesterday, and there were quite a few. We kick things off. BGA was a 10-6 winner over Providence Christian. Brentwood defeated Summit 9-0. Dixon County knocked off Brentwood Academy 8-6. Your score there. It was Central Alabama defeating Hendersonville 9-4. Clarksville an 11-1 winner over Clarksville Northeast. Clarksville Academy defeated CPA 7-4. Creekwood knocked off East Hickman 11-1. Perry County a 15-3 win versus Culleoka. Davidson Academy all over Kirkwood 15-1. Close ball game between Antioch and Ezell Harding. Antioch winning that game 4-3. Rocket City, Alabama defeating Giles County 13-10. A real slugfest between those two teams. Hume Fogg 8, Marshall County 7. Nolansville defeated Independence 4-1. Good Pasture knocked off Jay, Oklahoma. 11-0 was your score there. Joe Burns defeated Stewart County 3-1. Eagleville knocked off Laverne 11-4. Lawson was a 10-8 winner over John Overton. Good Pasture defeated Little Rock Central. That's out of Arkansas. 8-0 your score there. Talk about a close ball game. Lawrence County won, Loretto nothing. It was a nail biter yesterday. Lawrence County gets the win there. McEwen defeated Hampshire 14-4. Columbia Academy defeated Middle Tennessee Christian 3-0. It was the Middle Tennessee Monarchs knocking off Mount Juliet Christian 8-4. Centennial defeated Page 9-7. It was Ravenwood 10, Franklin nothing in the shutout there. Riverdale also a shutout win, 6-0 versus Lipscomb Academy. Murfreesboro Central Magnet wins at 14-9 versus Shelbyville. Smith County knocked off Summertown 5-3. Smyrna defeated Rockville 15-8, beg pardon. Rossview puts up 15 runs and a 15-1 win versus Springfield. Hillsboro erupts for 20 runs, a 20-1 win versus Stratford. Webb School defeats University School of Nashville 17-5. Wayne County knocking off Santa Fe 15-3. And how about Zion Christian defeating South Haven Christian 20-2 was your final in the baseball score there in our final baseball score of yesterday's action.
Did Rocket City and Giles County not play too yesterday?
They might have played too. I think might have been set for a Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, I thought we were at two games yesterday, so I was.
We'll get back maybe by the end of the show and find out because there's been quite a few tangles between Rocket City and Giles County.
Now, is Rocket City, are they like a homeschool type?
Gotta be, because I've never heard of them until.
Well, and our Alabama expert had not heard of them either.
Yeah.
So. Anyway.
Nice name, though, if nothing else.
No doubt. Softball action from yesterday. Brentwood with a 6-4 win over Blackman. Christ Presbyterian Academy 11. Middle Tennessee Christian 7. Columbia Academy doubled up Dixon County 10-5. It was Clarksville Academy 15. Ezel Harding 3. Ravenwood with the 16-0 win over Hume Fall. Clarksville Northeast downed Overton 18-6. It was McGavock 21, Laverne 6. Laverne must have missed an extra point there. Lawrence County with a 14-4 win over Tullahoma. It was Battleground Academy 16, Lawson 1, Mount Juliet 20, Lebanon 4. Loretto with a 14-2 victory over Columbia Central. Giles County 11, Marshall County 1. Spring Hill with a 16-1 win over Culleoka. Summertown 9, Forest 5, and Zion Christian blanks South Haven Christian 11-0. Boys soccer action. Columbia Academy doubles up Giles County 4-2, and Smyrna with a 7-1 win over Wilson Central. In the association, in overtime, Sacramento 121, Memphis 111.
Baseball scores or baseball schedule for today. We kick things off with a 2 p.m. start. Alabama Christian Academy is taking on Good Pasture. University School of Nashville will be at Webb School. That game gets underway at 4. Also at 4, you have Ezel Harding at Antioch. Brentwood Academy is at CPA. These are 4:30 starts now. After BA and CPA, you have Lipscomb Academy at MBA. Gallatin will take on Victory Christian, Alabama. Now we get into 5 o'clock. Lebanon is at Riverdale. Wayne County versus Santa Fe. At Santa Fe, I should say. Moore County travels to Culleoka. These games are now beginning at 6. And also you have at 6 o'clock, Middle Tennessee Monarchs at DCA. Marshall County at Columbia Central, Mount Pleasant at Cornersville. Collinwood will visit Giles County today at 6 p.m. Nashville Christian is at Harpeth. Clarksville Academy is at Montgomery Central. Siegel is at Oakland. Smyrna is at Rockville. Franklin County is at Wilson Central. And a final 6 p.m. start there is Fayetteville traveling to Hampshire here this evening.
At 6:15, Richland visits Community. 6:30, Coffee County is at Blackman. Centennial hosts Page. Clarksville Northeast hosting Clarksville. Middle Tennessee Christian is at Columbia Academy. Friendship Christian goes to Eagleville. Ravenwood is at Franklin. Franklin Christian hosting Zion Christian. Loretto goes across the river to Hardin County. Lawson is at Overton. Wilson Central travels to Lawrence County. Hume Fogg is at McGavock. Nolansville hosting Independence. Battleground Academy goes to Providence Christian. Rossview hosts Springfield. Dixon County travels to Spring Hill. Brentwood is at Summit. All of those are 6:30 starts. At 7, Gallatin faces Mountain Home out of Arkansas.
Softball action for tonight beginning at 4 p.m. Loretto is at Lexington, Alabama. Franklin Road Academy is at Middle Tennessee Christian. At 4:30 tonight, Lawson will travel to Glencliff. Now we get into 5 o'clock games. Lincoln County is at Columbia Central. Santa Fe is at Perry County. Waverly will visit Fairview. Ravenwood will travel to Franklin. Coffee County is at Spring Hill. Clarksville Academy at Friendship Christian. Page at Summit, capping the 5 p.m. window. At 5:30 tonight, Clarksville is at Henry County. Giles County is at Murfreesboro Central Magnet. Blackman is at Siegel. Centennial is at Brentwood. BGA is at Columbia Academy. Into 6 o'clock window we go now. Summertown is at Richland. Oakland is at Rockvale. Laverne will travel to Smyrna. And capping us tonight, a couple of 6:30 first pitches between Gordonsville at Green Hill and then Springfield at Lebanon. Again, 6:30 starts for those two games to cap our softball schedule for tonight.
At the bottom of the hour on the pitch, we have Siegel at Rockvale. 5 o'clock, Good Pasture is at Cheatham County. First touch also for Middle Tennessee Christian at Grace Christian of Franklin is 5 o'clock. Ditto for Lawrence County at Loretto, Macon County at Springfield. 6 o'clock, Webb School is at Blackman. Also, Harpeth goes to Cheatham County. Clarksville Northeast hosts Henry County. University School of Nashville is at Columbia Academy. Agathos Classical goes to Community. Upperman is at Ezel Harding. Friendship Christian hosting Davidson Academy. Culleoka goes to Hickman County. Overton is at Hillsboro. Clarksville Academy goes to Montgomery Central. Again, all of those are 6 o'clock starts. 6:30 first touch for Westmoreland at Rockwood, going over into the Eastern time zone. Spring Hill is at Warren County at 6:30. At 7, Brentwood is at Clarksville. Coffee County visits Columbia Central. Kirkwood hosts Clarksville Northwest. You can see this one on PCL Pulaski Citizen Live as East Hickman travels to Richland for a 7 o'clock first touch. Also at 7, Page and Murfreesboro Central square off. Laverne is at Smyrna at 7, and at a time unknown to us, it's the Battle of Murfreesboro as Oakland travels to Riverdale. On the ice, 12-0-2 now. They have scored points in 14 straight games, looking to extend that to 15 as the Preds entertain the San Jose Sharks at Bridgestone Arena. Again, 7 o'clock start. You can see it on Valley Sports South, and that is your rundown. Top story brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly over in Neely's Mill here in Columbia. Be sure and check them out for their delicious daily deli lunch options, as well as their hand-cut meats. And everything is cost plus 3 at the cash register there. So again, Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, our top story sponsor. And top story originates out of Williamson County as year 3 of girls flag football, sponsored by the Tennessee Titans, begins this Sunday, March 24th. They will be playing at Franklin, at Page, and at Independence, I believe, at 2, 3, and 4. Franklin will have Summit and Brentwood playing there. They will play round robin. At Page, you've got Fairview and Ravenwood coming in, and at Independence, you've got Centennial and Nolansville. So again, Williamson County Girls Flag Football starting up this weekend, week 3, under the auspices of the Tennessee Titans and the Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association. Ravenwood, your 2-time defending tournament champion. Franklin, your 2-time defending regular season champion. So it's always fun. Wade, I don't know if you've had a chance to see girls flag since.
Haven't had a chance to cover it. The cool thing is that after some of the Titans games, they would come out and either practice or play or scrimmage, and then they have, obviously some competitions do take place at different times. And one thing that's always been impressive to me is it's not as if we're just launching the sport. We're playing at a high level to start things off, and the quality of play has been impressive to see. And so the fact that this continues to gain popularity and continues to not just be a throw-in or an additional sport, the fact that it's getting played at a high level is, I think, huge, and it's a great extra kind of a little bit of depth to what the local sports scene has to offer, and a depth to kind of show a case that our female student population here has got some really outstanding student athletes.
Absolutely, and as you talk about it expanding, Both Metro Nashville and Clarksville will play their second seasons. Don't have their schedules or their start times right in front of us, but also Hamilton County will have girls flag for the first time this year, and there is a little congregation over in eastern Middle Tennessee, maybe, as White County, Ray County, Cumberland County, and Stone Memorial will play in a 4-team league this year, according to Josh Corey, Director of Community Relations for the Tennessee Titans. So it's starting to spread out a little bit.
Starting to gain more popularity, and at this point you just got to wonder when we're really going to get full bore into a full-on state championship, and it seems like we're picking up more progress than I'll say this, they're coming out of the gate a lot faster, I think, than a lot of folks would have anticipated, which is exciting to see.
And you're not seeing anybody that's saying, we don't want to mess with that. So it's exciting to see, and I will tell you, some of the athletes that you see out there, I mean, last year it was really fun to watch Texas softball signee Ryan Brown playing for Independence, for one thing. So these young ladies can play, man. If you get a chance to get out there and see them, go see them. Top story part 2. It's been announced that Spencer Strider will get the ball for the Braves season opener at Philadelphia on March 28th. And it's kind of an embarrassment of riches, because I was texting with Yao and with David Wilson of the Robertson County Connection, because, all three of us are huge Braves fans. And, it's what about Max? And, when you've got two aces, they can't both have the ball on opening day. And ideally, Max would get it for the April 5th home opener against Arizona, the National League champion, by the way. So we'll see how that plays out, but they did announce that Spencer Strider will start the opener again on March 28th, which is a week from Thursday.
Yep, crazy to think about.
It's wild.
It has flown right up on us here, start of the season.
Well, I mean, I feel like I lost 2 weeks being over in Murfreesboro for the last little bit. It's almost like you're in a vacuum and you just get so locked in on what's going on over there that you kind of lose track of what else is going on. But yeah, opening day next Thursday.
And if I'm not mistaken, did I not read also that there's a game?
Are the Dodgers
tomorrow morning, I believe?
And so?
Yeah, I think the first games are tomorrow morning, technically. I don't know how many they're going to play. Presumably at least a couple, though.
You're not going to just go over there for one, I don't guess.
Presumably not.
So, goodness gracious.
6:05, I think, was the start time, if I remember correct. Yeah.
You going to get up for that?
Probably not, but never say never. I know you're a huge Dodgers guy, so you'll be fired up for it, but I probably will not be.
I will.
I'm more likely to be up from the night before than I am for getting up for it. How about that?
I won't likely get up for it. I can tell you, Greg Tips and Pernell Knox may get up.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're huge Dodgers fans.
Well, we'll quiz them. Maybe there'll be a special guest appearance tomorrow to see just how they kick things off. Yeah, going to kick off Wednesday morning in Seoul. And I beg pardon, I misled everybody. 5:05.
Oh.
So.
Even less chance.
Yeah, less likely. So you can see it, I think, on ESPN, and then obviously.
Oh, I'm sure.
If you've got.
Who are they playing? Dodgers Padres?
Dodgers Padres. Yep, 2-game series. And then the rest of the week, as you said, we'll pick back up next week on the 28th. So.
Okay, so let's see something real quick. You said 5:05.
5:05, which is, very manageable. 3:05 a.m. for those that may be Pacific time zone inclined.
Good. Okay, so what time is it there is what I want to know. So right now it's 4:20 a.m. So 5:05 here would be 7:05 p.m. there.
So a proper night game.
A proper night game for them. Certainly not for us.
Yeah, not as conducive for the American fan base, but they will get
and
things.
And certainly not for the Dodger and the Padre fan base. Again, it's 3 o'clock.
And that's one, you might as well just stay up. Stay up. And just
take a nap stay up.
Deal with what you got to deal with on Thursday and Friday.
Call out. Well, I mean, that's a great way to get the NCAA started.
You know,
right?
you're reading my mind here. Yeah, just go ahead and call out for the next day. Get up, watch the game, and then just stay. Get you a little nap in and get ready for March Madness in a few hours.
Yeah, because I mean, it's early out there as well, I guess. So yeah. Wow. That's funny. Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we come back, we should be joined by Joe Sullivan, talking a little NCAA hoops, among other things. So stay with us after this break from the Lee Company Studios here in Columbia. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, continues. Maurice Patton, Wade Neely, waiting on our third, actually.
The waiting game.
Yeah, he's kind of building up the suspense, I guess Joe Sullivan is. Yeah, should be with us here in a second, but In the meantime, I know he's going to have something to say about Indiana State not making the field. I feel like they're not the only ones that we'll be talking about at some point. But one of the more fascinating storylines, I think, in the men's NCAA basketball tournament is, the situation out of Long Beach, where Dan Monson and the school announced that they would be parting ways at the end of the season prior to, I guess, the Big West tournament?
I think that's right.
The Big West or the Mountain West? What are they?
Big West, pretty sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Then all they did was win the tournament.
If you're going to get let go at the end of the season and you really like where you're at, there's, I guess, only one real way to stay where you're at, and that's just keep winning.
Keep winning.
And they've done just that. And so what will be obviously really crazy is if they somehow go on a little bit of a run here and win a couple games in the tournament, and then you're like, okay, now what do we do?
Right.
We've said we're going to fire this guy at the end of the season, and here we are, and it's weekend number 2 of March Madness, and they're still in the tournament. At what point how many wins would potentially be enough to make you kind of duck walk a little bit?
Now, I did reach out to a friend of the show, Christopher Gabriel, who is based out of Fresno, which is a little north of Long Beach, I guess, but said that one of his coworkers actually played for the Beach, so he's got a little insight into this thing. It's not so much a firing as it is that Monson's contract expires at the end of the year, and he was actually planning to retire. The AD wanted to kind of accelerate the process a little bit. And so they kind of got twisted up on when he was going to leave. I guess the athletic administration wanted Monson to step down sooner. I don't know, but they had lost 5 straight games prior to the announcement of the mutual separation. So, I guess it seemed, innocent enough at that point.
It's all fun and games till you start winning games in the conference tournament, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Now we're in the quarterfinals. Wait a second. Now we're in the semifinals. Holy smokes, now we've won the freaking conference tournament. What are we going to do with our coach here? Yeah.
Yeah, and they open against Arizona, I believe. So I guess they're a 15 seed. It has happened. I'll be rooting for them.
Talk about a great storyline.
I'm sure Yao will be rooting for him, Captain Chaos himself. And I feel pretty sure Joe Sullivan will be rooting for Long Beach State as well. Joe now joining us here on Main Street Sports Today. Good afternoon.
Hello from Dayton, Ohio. And,
I'm sorry. Yes.
I just returned from the arena where I watched the 4 teams that are going to play tomorrow practice. Boise State just wrapped up, so that's sorry I'm late is what I should say. But
No. Thank you for taking time out of your. Now, okay, so you went to the shoot around.
Yes.
So tell me, are you there on a professional basis or on a personal basis, or yes?
I'm here as a fan this next 2 days, but I was sitting there with my good friend Pat Donnelly, who I'm visiting. I'm in his house right now. We were college.
Well, tell
roommates.
Pat we appreciate him letting you, use his internet.
Pat and Brenda, his wife, and I was. I like to say this: we were thrown together randomly in 1970 as roommates, and we remained great friends since. And we share basketball as a passion, and we sat there and watched 4 practices and talked all about it like 2 geeks. That's what we were doing. Yeah.
That's awesome. We were talking as you came in about the Long Beach State Dan Monson situation.
I was reading about it today in the Los Angeles Times, and Ben Bolch, a very good college reporter for the Times, who worked briefly at the Globe with me actually in Boston. He Monson admitted he's using this as motivation for his team. He was telling the team, they fired me. They don't think you're going to win. They wouldn't fire me if they thought you were going to win. And so he's to the end coaching and using motivation wherever he can get it.
Gotta like that. We wanted to get you on for a couple of reasons, Joe. Obviously, we don't have a whole lot of local representation in the upcoming tournament, unfortunately, but there is still plenty to talk about locally. There have been a couple of transfer portal announcements, both from Belmont that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's some others, but yeah, Jacoby Gillespie and Malik Dia have both announced that they are in the portal. Thoughts?
Yes. And well, I tell you what, the doomsday thought would be when does Kate, and then the whole team is gone. They're the two leading scorers, and I saw a list on Twitter today that Jacoby Ellsbury is excuse me, there was a Boston slip up. Jacoby Gillespie is being recruited by everyone that you would think of. Including Alabama, which I could just really see him fitting in Alabama, playing that style. He would be a jet at point guard for them and finding the shooters. So I think he's gone, and then so Malik is also considering NBA opportunities. Not sure that that's possible for him yet. I mean, certainly the NBA people are aware of him, think he has potential, but I'm not sure his game is that polished yet. But the NBA has been known to take chances on potential in the draft and free agent signings. I think that there's a lot of history of that. So I guess we can't eliminate that as a possibility. But Belmont itself, it's devastating to that program. And I haven't spoken to Casey Alexander. I guess I'm kind of waiting on whether the third shoe is going to drop with Cade Tyson. And then I think there'll be a story to do. Where does he go from here? Because it is going to be a difficult recovery to replace these two players. There's nothing on the roster that could possibly replace them in my mind. And so I don't know where he's going to find them.
Joe, Jacoby, to me, it feels like a natural progression, given what he's put on film over 2 years at Belmont. It's understandable, like you said. There are a number of places that you could project him as a natural, immediate fit. Malik transferred to Belmont from Vanderbilt this past season. Obviously had a great year this year, but it feels like to me that he would benefit most from a second year of the same type production in the same program.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, Mo. It's I think I said it before. Polished. He needs to hone his game. There are great parts of it. Sometimes plays he makes that other people are not capable of making. But I wouldn't say he's NBA ready. Now, could he go up and play in the SEC? I think he could. But I think he would be. I think what you're saying makes sense. That he would benefit another year under Casey, and I think, from Casey's point of view, he can say, "I produce NBA players. Ben Shepherd's a first-round draft pick. I know how to get people ready to play in the NBA." But I guess that message maybe wasn't received.
Yeah, with Belmont in particular, is this kind of how troubling is this? But with these two leaving, I guess in the short term, is there any worry or fear that this could potentially, for a program that has prided itself on such consistency over the years and team chemistry, is there any larger picture concern in your mind, Joe?
Absolutely. They've won 20 games. I believe it's 13 straight years. And I think Gonzaga, Kansas, and Oregon, something like that, are the only other schools to have done it. It's in jeopardy right now with those two players leaving. They're not playing in the Atlantic Sun or the Ohio Valley anymore. They're in the Missouri Valley, they've found it potential for bottom dropping out, quite honestly. And if I were a Belmont fan, I would be fearful that things are really going to take a turn for the worse. Now, what Casey has at his disposal is the same thing that's damaging his roster, the transfer portal. He can reach out and maybe find somebody that maybe not as good as those two, but maybe 4 people that add up to being as good as those two. I think he's expressed on the record about what his transfer portal policy is. He said he would only use the transfer portal for players he lost in the transfer portal. Well, here we are. He lost his 2 leading scorers, 2 of his big 3, and he's going to have to use the portal to replace it. I think that's the only answer for that.
That's ugly. That's a tough situation for Belmont. It's a tough situation for Casey because, again, he has been somewhat resistant to get into that, and understandably so. He's an old school guy. He wants to build his program up, build his roster up instead of plug and play. And I'm afraid we may be in a point in time where recruiting and developing may not necessarily be sustainable.
Very few teams do it. I would say you need to, you have to invest in the transfer portal to a certain extent to be successful these days.
Yeah.
Just because of what you're going to lose, and you need to replace at the very least.
Joe Sullivan of NashvilleHoops.blog joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, coming to you from Dayton, Ohio, site of the First Four, where he will be tonight and tomorrow night. Give us your thoughts on those 4 matchups over the next couple of nights, Joe.
So I was sitting there watching practice with my friend Pat, and I said, do you know, at this point, I was like, we're watching teams practice, like, this is going to be fun to watch. I said, after, you go through this Sunday night and Monday and you say, oh, this bracket's messed up. Why is Michigan State even in the tournament? Lavendale seeded 9th. Florida Atlantic, did they forget they played another game against Temple? You have all these questions. Why does UConn have the toughest bracket when they're the overall number 1 seed? But then now we have the matchups, and it's something we can we'll just let that go. And I looked at these matchups and I got excited. The last 2 teams to practice today were Boise State and Colorado. I think are 2 quality teams that are in the First Four. I think this is going to be a great matchup. And the other 10 seed matchup there is Virginia and Colorado State. Again, they're like Virginia. You could question whether Virginia belongs in the tournament, but look, we know they're probably going to play well, and Colorado State has something to play for in the sense that they were the last team put in, and most people thought they were going to be in the field quite easily. So I think it's a big night for the Mountain West with those 2 teams, Colorado State and Boise State. They really have something to prove, and I love the 16 matchups too. Although I wish Merrimack was here because that's my old Massachusetts background tugging at my heartstrings there. But I think Howard is very interesting with Kenny Blakeney. We were having this conversation at practice. The coach at Howard is Kenny Blakely, who played his high school basketball at DeMatha Catholic in Washington, D.C., coached by a guy named Morgan Wooten. Mo, you may know who Morgan Wooten is. He's one of the legendary high school coaches of all time in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And then he plays for Mike Krzyzewski in college. You couldn't have a better background to be a coach than playing with those 2 coaches. And here he has Howard in the NCAA tournament. And look, Wagner is a team that is a great story, but they don't have a great record. But they only have 7 guys active right now because of injuries. And somehow they were able to win 3 road games to get here in the Northeast Conference tournament. So they're interesting too. And Grambling had great warm-ups, Mo. I got to tell you, they were out practicing. They had these bright yellow warm-ups. They're black and yellow or black and gold, but they had these like canary yellow warm-ups on. It was tremendous. And I hope they do well tonight too.
The road is not easy for any of those 16s, obviously. The Howard Wagner winner gets North Carolina. The Montana State Grambling winner gets Purdue. So
I would say I wouldn't expect the 16 being a 1 this year. And of course, you'd never expect it, quite honestly. But if I had to pick a 16, the best 16, this I will say with confidence, the best 16 seed is Stetson, having seen some of these teams play. But they've got UConn. So essentially Stetson, if they're seeding the tournament 1 through 68, since UConn's the overall number one, I guess Stetson's 68, but they're not 68. Stetson's better than some of these teams in the first four. I mean, they have Jalen Blackman, who was not the player of the year in the Atlantic Sun, but he had a 43-point game in the championship. He's a good. I don't think they can beat UConn, but they are the best 16. I'll phrase it that way.
Joe, as you've been in Dayton and you've kind of looked at the teams, obviously the games will play out over the next 48 hours. Is there anybody that has jumped out to you, or whether you saw it in person already or just kind of coming into this? Do we have a team like that, 2011 VCU or the LaSalle that made a good run, or even, locally Tennessee in years past has done some damage out of the first four? Any team that could really make a run in your mind out of this group?
Yeah, I think Indiana State. All right, I'm joking.
Well played.
But it's look. Does an 11 seed qualify for this? I have an 11 that I absolutely love, and it's New Mexico, and they're coming off the winning the Mountain West tournament. And this team, I've watched them a lot this year. They have my favorite player in college basketball, Donovan Dent, is their point guard. And Donovan Dent didn't even play. He was sick Saturday. He was, I'm sorry, listeners, he was vomiting into the trash can at the end of the bench on Saturday night. Could not play the game. He was so sick. I assume he's going to be fine. It was just intestinal. He'll be over it. This kid, I love his game as the point guard. And then he's got people around him, Jamal Mashburn Jr. and Jaden House, who's Eddie House's kid.
Stop.
Yeah.
Jamal Mashburn Jr.
So Jamal Mashburn Sr. played for Rick Pitino at Kentucky. Jamal Mashburn Jr. plays for Richard Pitino at New Mexico.
Jamal Mashburn has a son playing college basketball.
Yes, he does. And Jaden House is the son of Eddie House, who played for the Celtics when they won the World Championship in I think it's 2009. So he has some I'm blow a term for sons or daughters of famous people. But they have and they also they have a freshman big man, JT Toppin, who is just terrific too. I love New Mexico, and I really think they're a threat. Sweet 16 good, maybe even more than that if they really. Part of the why they're not as good, their record isn't as good, is that they've had injuries all season. They've rarely had the whole team together, and then when they did Saturday, Dent gets sick. Hopefully he's recovered. They have their whole team this week. They're not deep, so foul trouble would kill them. But New Mexico is my sort of wild card team.
You and Yao must be on the same wavelength, because yesterday we were talking and he said if he was Clemson, he'd be pissed off, and maybe Baylor as well. So
yeah, right. They're getting put into with a team that probably should have been seeded higher. That's the Mountain West was didn't get a lot of high seeds. All the teams got in, but that's only because New Mexico won the tournament. But they seem to be seeded. They should have been higher. I think everyone agrees with that. But, FAU and Michigan State maybe should be in the first four, and Boise and Colorado State should be in the main bracket. You could make that argument, right?
Yeah. You mentioned Donovan Dent as your favorite player in the tournament. I'm excited to see DJ Burns and North Carolina State. They open against Texas Tech in the South region. I feel like if I were that height, that's what I would look like on the basketball field.
I also, as a fat man, identify with DJ Burns, and he seems like he's been playing forever. I remember seeing him. So he started at Tennessee, then he transferred to Winthrop, and then he transferred to NC State. So this is his 5th year, and I remember seeing him at Winthrop playing at Vanderbilt. I guess it's got to be 3 years ago now, and because then he was at Winthrop, then he went to NC State, so it could have been 2 years ago. But you could see him. He is, he's like the hippopotamus in Fantasia, the Disney movie. Doing as the hippopotamuses as ballerinas. And that's what he is. He has got great feet, great vision, and he's just light-footed around there despite having a big body. Of course, you think of a guy like him. What if he ever got in shape, right? He would be maybe devastating. But he's got a great game, and he's one of the main reasons they won the ACC tournament.
Absolutely. Joe Sullivan, TennesseeHoops.blog. I'm sorry, NashvilleHoops.blog. I'm trying to expand you, Joe. What are we writing about right now? I've not looked at it since all of our teams.
It's all transfer portal stuff. We had one transfer portal we haven't mentioned on the show yet is Marcus Fitzgerald. State went into the portal. Now he's basically a 4-year starter at Tennessee State, and he did not have a good senior year. He shot poorly this year, and he did have some injuries and some illness. But I know Penny Collins loves him. When I was questioning the season about whether he would keep playing Marcus as much as he was, considering how poorly he was playing, he said, "Yeah, we're ride or die with Marcus," and so it's he's losing a key player there. So it's I haven't spoken to Penny, but it's I guess I'm surprised by it, but I'm not sure who wants him based on the season he's coming off. I mean, he shot like 32% from the field. It was horrible, and he wasn't handling the ball well either. And it's part of the reason for Tennessee State's inconsistency this year is they didn't get the type of season they were expecting out of Marcus Fitzgerald.
Now, this would probably be a good time to say, just because you go in the transfer portal doesn't mean that you have to leave. In fact, there's at least one guy from Vanderbilt who has gone so far as to say that.
Actually, both Vanderbilt kids. So
both Colin Smith and Jason Rivera Torres have said that they aren't necessarily gone; they're just in the portal. So, you can come back out to your school. Of course, they have to bring you back, I guess, too, right?
So the other thing on the site we have is I became a personal search committee for Vanderbilt. And if you scroll up, you'll see that I named 9 people that they for their coaching position, and I know one they probably won't talk to because maybe he's too old and he's been in his place for 25 years. But James Jones at Yale is one of my favorite coaches in the country, and to see him, what he calmly directed his team on Sunday afternoon when they looked like they were dead and gone league tournament final against Brown, which is Brown has a losing terrible for the bracket, and he calmly directed his team back to strategy in the last couple of minutes was how he saved time on the clock, guys, and then they hit a shot at the buzzer to win. Anyway, I love James Jones. He's brought pro level talent to Yale, so he has that connection. The old Princeton coach, you know what he used to call the admissions department, right? At Princeton?
What?
Heartbreak Hotel. That's what he called it.
That makes sense. Joe Sullivan.
So anyway, I think James can handle that part, getting people that are going to be able to qualify for Vanderbilt and also play very good basketball.
That's awesome. Be sure and follow Joe at Globe Sullivan on Twitter or on X, and be sure and check out NashvilleHoops.blog for all of his insight on local basketball here in the area. Joe, we appreciate it. Enjoy.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Stay warm, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Let's take a break. When we come back here on Main Street Sports today, I'm going to talk about some high school hoops and some honors that have been presented by the Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee. So stay with us here after the break from the Lee Company Studios after this.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA. With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Top 5 Tuesday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Wade Neely, Maurice Patton, talking a little high school hoops here as, again, the Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee announced its Boys and Girls Coaches of the Year for the 4 Division I classes and the 2 Division II classes. Shockingly enough, Bradley Central's Jason Reuter is the Class 4A Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I can't say I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, exactly. He is joined by Heritage's Ricky Howard in 3A, Gibson County's Mitch Wilkins in 2A, Chad Spencer of Moore County in Class 1A, and in Division II, Travis Maines of Knoxville Catholic in 2AA, and University School of Jackson's Joel Ayers in Division 2A. On the boys' side, John Harrington from Briarcrest is the BCAT D2AA Coach of the Year. Kerry Hammonds Jr., not to be confused with former not to be confused with his dad, also former MTSU standout, Kerry Hammonds. Yeah, because Kerry Hammonds Jr. was pretty good as well. I just was in school at the same time as Big Kerry. Anyway, Providence Christian coach Kerry Hammonds is the D2A Boys Coach of the Year. On the Division I side, Josh Hurd of Cookville in 4A, Bobby McWilliams of Upperman in 3A. Ryan Collins from Alcoa is your 2A Boys Coach of the Year. And in 1A, from Santa Fe, Brad Slaughter. So congratulations to all of them, but particularly to Brad.
Well done. Didn't obviously cut down the nets, but there's only one team that can do it, but they still had a heck of a run. And, yeah, nothing but props to Brad, who's been a long time coming for that guy and for that program. To see them have success like they did this year was really kind of special to watch.
It was special. It was fun. It kind of makes you wonder with what they've got coming back if they can potentially cut down some nets next year.
Yeah, and that's always the big question, right? That's what the coaches talk about is you kind of got to savor those moments because unfortunately it's not a guarantee that you will get back.
It's not a guarantee that you will get back, and yeah, you got to enjoy the ride, but at the same time you've seen in so many instances, and look no farther than Independence last year versus this year.
Right.
Sometimes you have to get there and be in that atmosphere and
grow from that.
And it happens. I mean, Brad made the comment after their quarterfinal win over North Green and said, we've never been here before. We didn't know where to park. It's just the whole atmosphere is different from anything that you've ever experienced when it's your first time. And so, I mean, just getting around Murphy Center, I still get confused, and I went there, So just different things like that. But as long as you've got 13, you're going to have a shot.
Yeah, he's going to be enough to at least get you into those deep games to have a shot, right? And it's been the case for the last couple of seasons, and it would, barring just something crazy, you could pretty much set your watch by they're going to at least make it to the region semifinal or championship next year. And then from there, it just comes down to those crunch games and just how do you execute down the stretch.
Comes down to those crunch games. It comes down to those breaks. Does Alton foul out of a game or something like that? I mean, do you get a bad whistle? And any number of things can decide it. But just from a talent standpoint, you feel like they are going to be in the hunt. And, as long as we're talking about it, congratulations to Frank Hughes.
Yeah.
And everybody else has said it. Student body of less than 100, and they make it to Saturday in Class 1A before they fall to Chattanooga Prep. And they've got a pretty good bunch of those folks coming back as well. So,
yeah, 1A has been fun to watch this year, and I think next year, like you said, between those two teams alone, Wayne County returns a lot as well. Richland is usually always pretty stout. So, I mean, just in southern middle Tennessee, we're blessed to have some really good teams coming back next year just on paper. And that's not before a random guy or two potentially shows up on somebody's campus as well, which has been known to happen.
These days, with Nashville and Middle Tennessee being what it is, with so many people coming in, I heard something on the news one night here in the last little bit. There are like 86 people a day moving into this area. A day.
This area is blowing up. And again, that's just, off of your natural kind of move-ins and natural kind of flow. But when you start making a run, all of a sudden now...
Maybe you're a little bit more attractive to somebody?
Somebody that was maybe supposed to go to school XYZ, and all of a sudden, I don't know if I really want to go there when I could go to Santa Fe, when I could go to a Wayne County, or I could go to a Frank Hughes, or, insert school here. Suddenly, when you get that momentum rolling, winning begets winning in a lot of cases, it feels like.
Absolutely. Let's take a break because we have in the green room Blue Raider voice, Chip Walters, and I'm sure he'll have something good to say about something. So let's get him queued up here when we come back to the Lee Company Studios here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Stay with us for hour 2.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Hour 2 of Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, continues. Maurice Patton, Wade Neely, and Mark, do we or do we not have Chip Walters? Because I see him, but I don't see him.
He's keeping us in limbo a little bit.
Yeah. The blue screen. There we are. There he is.
Yeah, there we go.
There he is.
That was my bad. I had the camera covered up. So sorry about that.
The camera works better uncovered, Chip.
It does, and I had that little thingy there. I put it up on my laptop, so I'm glad you pointed that out. So here we are.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be on, we might as well see you.
Well, we all have our cross to bear, right?
Exactly. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us as he does typically on Tuesdays here on Main Street Sports Today. Yeah. And you were in your office. You're not at a ball game. You're not driving. How did that happen?
It just it's kind of getting that time of the year where basketball is done for me. That got over with on Friday night. Of course, obviously, middle women's basketball will continue. Dick Palmer and Kyle Turnham will be heading down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'll be Bob Jameson and I will be handling baseball this weekend. And matter of fact, I think on Sunday it'll be turned back to clock day mode, because Bob and I will be reprising our roles from 87, 88, 89, somewhere right in there, when we worked together on those 3 years doing the Nashville Sounds together.
That should be fun.
It will,
So you're
always is.
so you're not going to tag along to Baton Rouge and get you some good Cajun food and that kind
No,
of thing?
not this time, but if I was going, I would make sure that I made room for a couple of trips to Mike Anderson's. There would be no question about that, but not going to be the case. I'm just going to have to give my recommendations to Mr. Palmer and Kyle.
Okay. All right. You're doing some baseball this weekend. Bring us up to speed on the baseball team. I think they took, what, 2 or 3 this past weekend? Is that right?
Lost 2 of 3.
Lost 2 of 3. Oh,
lost
my
on
bad.
Friday, won on Saturday, lost on Sunday. So that was the opening weekend of the conference. It's kind of everybody's getting their pitching together. Middle run ruled, or right at run ruled FIU in a game, and got run ruled on Sunday. But they're back at home this weekend against Liberty. Be the first time they've played Liberty in baseball, so that's coming up this weekend at Reese Smith Jr. Field. So they're either at 500 or 1 game under, and no midweek games this week. They've been going at it pretty hard. They've played I think 19 games now. I think they're 9-10 right now. Also on the diamond, softball took 2 out of 3 from Louisiana Tech, so they're now 3-3 in conference play after 2 weekends. They started Conference USA play a weekend before baseball did, but everybody with the way the schedule falls this year, everybody in baseball at least, Middle will play 2 baseball series, then they'll have a non-conference series weekend after this at home against Binghamton. They're it's a little bit different when you have a couple of less baseball series, and you'll play Western. I think we're playing Western twice because that gets you back to 30 games in the conference schedule, which is what they were looking for. So a lot of stuff going on there. But obviously the headline right now is what's going on with the Lady Raiders.
Obviously, the headline right now is what's going on with the Lady Raiders. Again, they are headed to Baton Rouge this weekend as the number 11 seed in whatever region it is that they're in. The women have, for lack of a better phrase, they have bastardized the NCAA tournament so bad that I can't really keep up with everything, and it's really unfortunate. It's tough to watch. But
how hard is it to give the regions a regional name? How hard is that?
Well, considering you're only playing regions in 2 locations,
yeah,
you've got the Portland 1 and the Portland 2, and you've got the Albany 1 and the Albany 2, and it's more than I can deal with. Sorry. So, but I can tell you that MTSU is the number 6 seed in their region. They are playing, the number 11 seed. They are playing number 6 seed Louisville Friday at 12:30?
Friday at 12:30 Central Time, yes.
The winner will play the winner of 14th seeded Rice and 3rd seeded host LSU. Yeah. That game would be on Sunday. But, I don't know how much results from a year ago mean, but I watched Middle beat Louisville last year at Murphy Center with Haley Van Lith.
Beat the brakes off of them.
By 20, wasn't it?
18, 67-49.
Okay.
And speaking of Haley Van Lith, have you seen the video on Twitter?
I can't see her. I can't see her lips, but I'm told what she is supposed to have said.
Well, if you know what she supposedly said, you can read her lips pretty enough to where, yeah, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
Yeah. When she's sitting there next to Kim Mulkey, and they're watching obviously the video board there at the Maravich Center as the bracket is being revealed, and she, being a former Louisville Cardinal, sees Middle Tennessee and Louisville come up, and she turns to Kim Mulkey and points and says, Middle Tennessee's going to whoop that, you know what. And if you look at I think I reposted it on Twitter. And if you know what she's saying and look at her lips, yeah, that's what she said, and laughed about it. So
that's a pretty ringing endorsement.
Well, I was going to say she ought to know, because
she saw it up close and personal.
Yeah, she's
last
got the
year.
first-hand knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Well,
So
but I'll tell you, that being said, that was the result last year. Coach Insel today had a media availability, and you can find it on YouTube or on GoBlueRaiders.com, wherever you might be. But it was Savannah Wheeler and Courtney Whitson had a press conference, and really the first thing out of his mouth was the respect that they have for Louisville, and that respect comes from Jeff Walls, and how he has been open throughout his career at U of L to playing home and home with Middle. And you want to get Rick Insel's respect. That's how you get it, is you treat Middle's program with the level of respect that Jeff Walls has. And Jeff and Matt and Jeff
that you treat Middle's program with the respect that it deserves.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. And that's how you get it. That's how you get it in return. And he was glowing in his endorsement for Jeff Walls and how that it has been a competitive series. And I think, it'll be an interesting matchup, because, the two teams, even though there are some of the familiar same pieces that may have been there a year ago, the two teams are very different than they were a year ago. And, it's hard. You just can't, in this day and age of college basketball, you just cannot, you just can't compare teams from year to year for the most part, because, and I've said it before, the transfer portal has taken away the option that coaches used to have of building a program. Now you have to build a team every year and try to manage the roster. It is very hard to build a program anymore.
Yeah. That said, this Middle team this year, they've really had, this isn't necessarily the team that they had envisioned coming into this season.
No, I mean, you lost a player to the WNBA that you knew was going to be going. You lose a starter to the transfer portal, and you lose another, what was expected to be a key player, very highly regarded recruit, to a season-ending injury. So
before she can even get on the floor.
Right, before she could ever get on the floor. And but you also, did you anticipate and could you count on Anastasia Boldreva showing the improvement that she has shown throughout this year? You pretty much knew what you had with Savannah Wheeler. You felt like you had a player of the year caliber guard. You knew that you had a post presence in Anastasia, but did you know how good it was going to be? You knew you had a coach on the floor in Courtney Whitson, who was going to be solid for you every night. But this team, developed, the development of Anastasia, and even late in the year, Yulia really came along, and they played them together a little bit too. Really
they did play them together, and that was something that, like you said, kind of took place over the course of the season. And I kind of like the look of them when they've got both of them on the floor at the same time. But one thing that you did not mention, Chip, and as soon as I say it, you're going to go, oh yeah, that's right. Tamia Scott is a three-level scorer.
Yeah, exactly. Tamia Scott was because I'm not sure they win the conference tournament if Tamia Scott was not there. I mean, you had a lot of good parts, but her what she's done really since Christmas, I mean, she's been their MVP during all of that, and she does it in such a quiet way. And you're right, she is a three-level scorer. She can post up her guard or whoever's guarding her. She has a very good jump shot, and she is a legit 3-point threat. So
And she can take it downhill.
she can take it downhill. She can go to the rim with it. She's a very, very good defender, and really has great feet and great instincts. So
I really feel like she is a Coosa Player of the Year
she's
caliber player.
I think absolutely, and I mean, and you look at her and how she's developed. You see a lot of Savannah Wheeler in her, in the way that she goes about playing her game and the way that she plays it fearlessly, like Savannah does, of taking the ball downhill. And so that is, I think going into next year, I think you look at Middle going into the year with 2 Conference USA Player of the Year possibilities in Anastasia Boldreva, as well as Tamia Scott. And it's just right now a wealth of riches for Coach Rick Insel. He's already signed a Miss Basketball, and you've got another Russian player who is waiting in the wings that was redshirted this year.
And as if MTSU opponents didn't have enough to worry about on a scouting report, Anastasia steps out and hits 3 threes in the championship game,
including the cherry on top right at the end.
Yeah,
and the one that put it away. And if she can do that, then it's almost not fair. But especially if she can do it on a consistent basis, and her confidence level throughout the year. Last year she was a little timid, and we saw her confidence level, and she's such a sweet young lady. You kind of hope that she continues to develop a little bit of a mean streak, and because in the position that she plays, she needs that. Yulia has a little bit of that mean streak in her, and now what you want to see from her is continued skill development to go along with that. And that will, you talk about a terrific inside presence that they expect to have a year from now. That'll be pretty tough.
So you're saying Anastasia needs to get a little nastier, right?
I mean, yeah. I'm not saying I'm against that.
Yeah.
Hey, Chip, we talked with Joe Sullivan earlier. We were discussing, the transfer portal. It's just crazy how this thing immediately kicks and sets off. And MTSU's men's team, the season has really just kind of gotten done. But what is the state? Obviously disappointed anytime you don't win the championship, you're upset. But what's kind of the state of the men's program and any chatter that you can give us, whether comings or goings, or just kind of where we sit with that program?
I think there will I think the base of the team that you saw, obviously you're going to lose Jalen Jordan and Elias King to graduation. This is just an expectation. Josh Ogundele, who missed the bigger part of the season due to, had to have knee surgery over Christmas break. I just don't know from a health standpoint whether, he'll continue to play college basketball. You look at a couple of guys. I think the core of this team is good. You look at guys who could be targets from the outside. Obviously, Justin Porter, but I think JP is very happy with where he is. He was a second team all conference player. And it's a sad state of affairs that whenever you have a young player that has success, that the first thing out of your fans' mouths is, well, gosh, I hope he stays. Yep. And you talk about Chris Loof, who, just came a million miles since last July when they reported. But I think Chris Loof is very happy where he is too. And so I think you're going to have holes to fill. I know for a fact there are already visits scheduled for players coming in, but do you have 3 holes or are there 4 or 5? spots that you need to fill. That's yet to be determined. I've not seen anything out there, comings or goings, outside of what you pretty much are sure of. And really the only ones you're sure of are the two that have graduated. But overall, this was a team, I think, that really, achieved when you look down at where they were and where they came from, that achieved an awful lot after, when they hit bottom in December after the injury to Cam Weston, and trying to retool and getting the conference race started. You were 0-4 in the conference race and in dead last in the league. You come back and you finish in a tie for fourth. Tiebreakers, the pencil kind of got you down into the 7th seed, but then you come back and you beat the number 2 seed in the conference tournament, who was the outright number 2, in a team that had beaten you twice during the regular season, and playing your very best basketball at the end of the year. You win 6 straight at home. So I think it said a lot about the team. I think it said a lot about the coaching staff who really never gave up on this group, and the players never gave up on their coaches and never gave up on each other. And I think they even though you lose to your rival in the conference tournament in a convincing manner, I think overall you wake up and you can have a good taste in your mouth about where you were and where you are, and that if you can, you feel like if you can get a healthy Cam Weston back to go along with the crew that is returning, including, Jared Coleman Jones and others, that you've got a shot to really be good again in this league.
Yeah, it seems like there's certainly some pieces that can be worked with, and it seems like this is a squad that, you do perhaps a little retooling, and who knows where this squad can go heading into next year.
Yeah, and last year there was the average across the country is that you're going to have to replace 5 guys a year, and that's the average across college basketball through the transfer portal. And 2 years ago, Middle was one of 3 teams in all of Division I basketball that did not have a single guy go into the portal. Last year, there were 5, so which was kind of when you go from 0 to 5, it was kind of a little bit of a shock, but it turned out from a national standpoint, you were right kind of at the average. And I don't think you're going to have 5 go in the portal this year. I think you'll probably have a couple that, and they're pretty easy to pick out, that probably may be looking for more playing time elsewhere. But you don't know that for sure until it happens. And I think, with graduation and health issues, you're probably going to have about 4 to 5 spots that you're going to want to fill for next year. And that's a really good opportunity to bring in some players who can make a difference.
Blue Raider voice Chip Walters joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, as he does typically every Tuesday.
You know what else happens tomorrow, Mo?
You
know what else happens tomorrow?
What happens tomorrow, Chip?
Spring ball starts at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning.
You going?
I may not be there tomorrow. But I was talking to Coach Mason, and I said, "Did I hear right? You all are starting at 6 o'clock." He goes, "Stretching at 5:40," and
well, you don't need to stretch.
Yeah, that's right. So 6 o'clock would be good for me. I had the opportunity yesterday. Sam Doughton, Mark Owens, and myself were invited by the football team to come up yesterday afternoon and do about a 20-minute session on media training with those guys. And we had 2 groups of 4, and Coach Mason wants to do that a couple more times, once or twice more in the spring, maybe, and once fall camp starts, do a little bit more, but it was pretty interesting. You had Nick Vattiato in one group with some younger guys, and then you had another group that had a veteran and three younger guys, and we did a Q&A with them and did some, kind of straight up questions. Also threw them a couple of curveballs and some that might make them squirm a little bit, just to see how they would answer them, watch body language, things like that. And they did that in front of their entire group, in front of the whole team. And so we were able to give feedback, but also really the thing that Sam and I and Mark did with Coach Mason is thank him for making that a priority and with these guys to put them in the very best light and give them more tools in their toolbox as they go and try to build their own personal brand as part of this football team, and to put their best foot forward when it comes to being in front of a camera or talking to a reporter with a recorder or a sharp pencil. So it was fun to do that.
Yeah, it's nice to hear when coaches are being proactive along those lines, and so like you said, kudos to Coach Mason for doing that.
Yeah, we don't want he don't want you tweeting about them, so we give them that training.
Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Chip, as always, we appreciate it, and look forward to visiting with you next Tuesday, hopefully after the Lady Raiders have made their way into the Sweet 16.
Boy, that sure would be nice, wouldn't it? That would.
I bet you'd go on that trip, wouldn't you?
I can't tell you whether I would or not. If it's where is it? Did you say Portland or in
It's
Albany?
either Portland or Albany.
Wow, I'm not sure you can get from here to there, either one of those.
Either of them. Yeah.
But
You're right. You're right.
anyway,
Hey,
you guys have a good day.
thanks. You too.
Thank you, Chip.
Our producer, Mark Rogers, advises us that MTSU is in the Albany 2.
Albany 2 for the Blue
Albany
Raiders.
2 region. Who's the one seed there, Mark? I don't have the bracket in front of me. Let's see how good he is.
Let me put him quick little test here for producer
yeah.
Mark.
Put him on the spot. He's grinding. Oh, Iowa is the number 1 seed in the Albany 2 region. Okay. That's right, because Iowa is the 1 and LSU is the 3 seed, which would be a rematch of last year's championship game, right? Is that right? Wasn't it LSU and Iowa in the finals
Correct.
last year?
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So Middle could upset some apple carts if they were to get to the final,
Man,
to the
yeah.
Sweet 16.
That would be nice, and like you said, they've got a decent enough path. I mean, obviously, got the track record versus Louisville.
Well, certainly Haley Van Lith thinks they do.
Yeah, we've already got at least one prognostication there. So
That's hilarious. Oh, let's take a break. Let's come back. Let's talk a little Titans. 11 free agency moves in 8 days. Let's talk about some of the later ones when we come back to the Lee Company studios here in Columbia on Main Street Sports Today. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Welcome to Protein Snack Shop, your destination for healthy and delicious low-carb snacks. Our specialty lies in providing protein-packed desserts that are perfect for those following a keto diet. Our products are made with high-quality ingredients, ensuring that you can satisfy your cravings without compromising your health goals. From a variety of flavors and options to choose from, you can enjoy guilt-free snacking while staying on track with your fitness journey. Don't miss out on our limited time offer. Discover Protein Snack Shop today.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. In our last segment, Wade and I will give you our top March Madness moments. So stick around for that. Right now, the Titans continue to be active in free agency. And, you know, it's not like they didn't need to. But at the same time, the fact that they are is kind of inspiring. I mean, if you're a Titans fan, you gotta love to see it because, I mean, we all know they were 6-11 last year, and it's nice to know that they were 6-11 last year as well.
And the refreshing thing is, we kind of touched on it in our top story there. It's refreshing to know that, yeah, you're in the midst of a rebuild, but you're not just going to sit there and just try and collect pieces and kind of just hope that things just magically get better. You're kind of strategically going out and trying to get better. And the fact that you're able to do this, I mean, it can be a hard sell. Nashville's not had the greatest track record, the Titans haven't, in terms of drawing marquee free agents over the years. So the fact that you're able to get some pretty high-profile free agents in this, given their situation, I think is, got to be off the charts encouraging right now, kind of where you sit, with still some potential moves to be made before you even get into the draft next month.
You know, and here's the thing, they aren't necessarily getting glamour guys other than Calvin Ridley.
Right.
You know, but they're getting guys who are improvements over what you had at their respective positions. And again, when you're coming from 6-11, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get better all over the field. And the latest two, 7-year veteran defensive tackle Sebastian Joseph Day, who had 38 career starts over 7 seasons. most recently with the San Francisco Giants, previously with the Chargers, a 6th-round pick of the Rams in 2019, 11 career sacks. So he slots in at defensive tackle, giving Big Jeff a little support in the middle.
Give him some support in the middle, and again, that's the crazy thing is the Titans have already made several big moves, but you still got some potential to make. I don't know if you can make a full splash at this point. Really, any splashy moves have kind of been done, but you can certainly make some moves that again are going to strategically kind of put you in the right direction. And you go out and you get Cushenberry to kind of get your offensive line kick-started. There's still a couple of decent, if not high-profile offensive linemen still available. I don't know how in the mix, if you will, that the Titans are on these guys, but you got guys like Tyron Smith, formerly the Cowboys, Mekhi Becton from the Jets. Like, those are two solid pieces. Maybe you can throw in a guy like Trent Brown from the Patriots. We could be talking, if you go out and you somehow grab one of those guys, plus what you've already got in free agency, and you've got Callahan now coaching the offensive line, you could suddenly talk about your offensive line really being retooled. And then once you kind of solidify that piece, I think a lot of your other problems kind of somewhat solve themselves at that point, right?
Right, you would think. Speaking of that offensive line, the Titans signed former Washington Commanders offensive lineman Sadiq Charles. So he's more of an interior offensive lineman. He's played guard on the last 2 seasons for the Commanders. So again, they have addressed both sides of the line of scrimmage with their last 2 moves. We've already talked about former Broncos center Lloyd Cushenberry coming into the fold. Obviously, again, Calvin Ridley. But like you said, some of these situations are going to help other situations take care of themselves. And I think that's a good point there, that you don't have to necessarily get better from a personnel standpoint at every position, because some of these positions are going to kind of be a little complementary.
I think so, especially like you've touched on both sides of the line. If you go out and you get, or you just improve the offensive line, maybe you suddenly don't need to go out and spend as much money on a flashy wide receiver, which they've already kind of done a little bit. But you don't need to go out and really just look for that key receiver, because maybe you had a guy like a Westbrook Akine who's, maybe not going to be an all-pro every year. But you don't necessarily need him to do as much when you've got a little more time and protection, or you can give him a little more time to flourish.
He doesn't necessarily have to get as much separation as some other guys, because Will Levis is going to have a little bit more time to throw the ball.
Let the routes develop. Let him have a little more time to throw the ball. Yeah, I'm a huge believer. If you can get the offensive line kind of squared away, there's going to be a lot of things. And, look at Derrick Henry leaving, obviously. If you shore up the offensive line, yeah, you're probably not going to get anywhere near the production that you saw from King Henry, especially, at the height of his career. But over the last couple of seasons, now you don't necessarily need Pollard or Spears to go out and be a direct replacement. You can kind of cobblestone that together, and with an improved offensive line, maybe you don't even need as much of production from their running back position at that point.
And conversely, with a Joseph Day and some of the other folks up front, maybe that allows your linebackers to flow a little bit better.
I think so.
Because the blocking isn't getting up to them. Just different complementary. Yep. Vrabel talked about complementary football. Maybe this is some of that. So it's still a work in progress, obviously.
Yep, and I still think they're in a pretty good position. And I think if you're a Titans fan, this is a much better offseason than you might have anticipated coming into it. And to me, at least, it signifies that, hey, the team is not just going to sit around and, again, just kind of hope that the right pieces come to you, or hope that the right draft picks fall to you. We're going to go out and we're going to be deliberate. We're going to be tactful with our approach and really kind of strategically go after some folks. And I think they've done that thus far. So that's why, to me at least, it seems like you got to be impressed, if not satisfied, with what you've seen so far.
deliberate, tactful, and aggressive.
They're putting the press on these guys.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess maybe that press started with Callahan, who they wouldn't let leave the building.
And also, you got him. You got, obviously, Father Callahan, and there was some consternation. Last year they kind of got lucky in the sense with Hopkins coming to them late. And initially, when free agency started, you were hearing a lot of chatter. Well, maybe we'll just kind of stand pat during this wave and just hope that second round of guys kind of comes to you. And kind of as you read more on that, it looks like that's not really a true strategy. That's kind of, again, more of that hope and wait and wish mentality. So to see them come out and be aggressive has been very, very impressive to me thus far. And honestly, for a front office and coaching shakeup standpoint, you weren't really sure maybe what sort of approach to expect. And so the fact that you have kind of Carthon, who's really stepping into this new, I don't want to say new role because obviously he had it last year, but stepping into this new realm of leadership, coupled with Callahan, it has been very refreshing to me to see as a fan.
I think that's a great way to characterize it, a new realm, because, it was Carthon and Vrabel last year, or Vrabel and Carthon, depending on who you ask. This year is Carthon and Callahan. And, I don't think we'll ever really know just how well or how poorly Vrabel and Carthon work together, but you really do get a sense of, as they said in Drumline, one band, one sound kind of thing when you're dealing with these two guys.
Yeah, and who knows? Yeah, and we're saying this obviously on March 19th. Who knows what we're going to be saying? September 19th or December 19th. But right now, it looks like this front office is, and this is their word they've used over and over, they're in lockstep with one another, and that's at least got to be an encouraging sign. Now, it could be in lockstep toward a completely disastrous path. But I think the signs are promising, and at least right now it seems like they're marching to the same beat and they're marching toward a positive direction.
Beware of the different directions.
Yes,
right?
Yeah. I mean, they're going in the same direction, which is what has been a problem.
Now let's see what that direction.
If it's the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Let's come back. Let's talk a little more March Madness as Wade and I give you our top 5 March Madness moments when we come back to the Lee Company studios after this break. Stay with us. I'm Maurice Patton, and on Main Street Sports Today, we bring you the voices of your favorite teams from preps to pros. Otherwise known as the VOT, Mike Keith.
The bottom line is we can teach Will Levis woke.
I just don't know who's going to work with you on your base stealing now that EY is gone.
Well, that has nowhere to go but up. And I was just like, oh, guys, not again. Can we just bury that, burn that footage, and not bring it back?
No. No.
Thank you. We'll keep it going past the All-Star break, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. There's always a good story to tell.
Can you guess where I am today, Mo? Where am I?
It's not Reese Smith Field, is it?
Yeah.
Because anytime you play Chicago, you want to win. That's
you got that right, and
that's bottom line.
Be a buzz.
When you're walking the dog, you keep the bags that you need for the dog in the bag, and you don't even have to wear it. You can just hold it, which is what I do when I walk the dog. So
I think the fanny pack probably needed a little rebranding.
It did. It really did.
On your show logo, we've got to get a puck in there. There's a basketball. There's a football. There's a baseball. Maybe not a puck. How about Mo brandishes a hockey stick?
Tune in daily at 2 p.m. on Main Street Media TV.
It's Top 5 Tuesday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. And we have reached the point in the show where we get into Top 5 Tuesday, presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness. 2 locations, one in Franklin, one in Columbia. Whatever shape it is you're in, Thalas Steel will get you in a better one. Shout him out at Steel Athletes, S-T-E-E-L Athletes. Again, Mid-South 5 Fitness, bringing you this week's Top 5 as Wade and I go through our most memorable March Madness moments. Mr. Neely, I see you feverishly jotting things down.
Well, there's so many on this list, and some I did not get the pleasure of witnessing live. Some, thanks to the powers of the internet, will live on forever. And so this is the cool thing, right? Is there's a number of different ways you can go with magical moments for March Madness, and this is kind of what is the real allure of the whole tournament is.
Contrary to what Greg Sankey says.
Yeah. There are moments in this tournament that will happen. I don't know if one, there may be one this weekend that, we talk about forever and forever.
I feel certain there will be one.
There will be a moment that happens this weekend that will absolutely live on the internet, perhaps forever. But it may come from a team that may not even make it out of the weekend. There might be a 16, a 15, or something of that nature that wins on Thursday or Friday, and then poof, never really heard from again.
Right.
But because of that moment that happens, it lives on forever. And some of these kind of come on this list, and some on my list are kind of championship runs or things of that nature that really are just their own extended moment, I guess, if you will, in that regard. And so I guess I'll get things kick-started. You really kind of got to go back to, it's the title of the book, for crying out loud, but when March went mad, you go back to 1979, the national championship game. I mean, this is kind of the one that really just kicked off the whole shebang when you got Magic versus Larry, Indiana State, not in this year's tournament. Not sure if you've heard that or not, but they are not in the tournament this year. So we're deprived of an Indiana State, Michigan State repeat, but Magic versus Larry, that's what kind of sets the ball in motion for this event as kind of a marquee television experience. Because it seems like up until that moment, and we even discussed it on last week's show, the NIT was, for so many years, the tournament that everybody wanted to be a part of. And it seems like once this happened back in '79, Magic versus Larry, that was the seminal moment that kind of tipped things in favor here.
That's a great one. This is a moment that kind of resonates with me because I was sitting with a friend at the time who, in his 2013 NCAA basketball bracket, had Georgetown winning the whole thing. Dunk City said, nay, sir. I mean, he literally tore his bracket up right there. Yes.
Rip.
Dunk City, Florida Gulf Coast announcing their presence with authority in the opening round of the 2013 tournament against Georgetown. And like you said, a lot of these were really one-hit wonders, but that one hit was a grand slam, Dunk City.
And I mean, so this also dovetails with how many times do we see coaches that go on to cash in on their big runs? Stan Heath back in the day, Andy Enfield of Dunk City fame, obviously parlays that into his deal. Still there at USC.
He is still there. I mean, 10, 11 years later, he's outlasted a lot of similar guys. Stan Heath, for one.
Yep.
Yeah, but you see a lot of guys kind of parlay that into bigger and better things, and sometimes it works, most time it doesn't. So
that's kind of the other underlying thing that comes with this tournament that's so fun to watch, and that's what we've talked about with a number of different teams. And we mentioned it last week when we talked about Samford.
Yeah, and Bucky McMillan.
Bucky, maybe, why do I want to consider Vanderbilt when I could go on a run in 2 weeks here in this tournament and I got 10 better job offers than Vanderbilt, with all due respect to the Commodores there. But so that's kind of what makes it fun for me. The other big moment, and I'm going to float between kind of some individual ones and then kind of some team ones perhaps. Obviously, we won't be able to get them all in. But I'm going to go with R.J. Hunter knocking down the buzzer beater for Georgia State Coach Ron Hunter's dad, he just falls off the stool. I mean, and that's kind of what the nation did collectively when they knocked the shot at Georgia State and just kind of put the nation on notice there.
Yeah, individual moments like that. And to that end, I will see your RJ Hunter shot for Georgia State and raise you Tyus Edney's breakneck layup against Missouri in the 1995 NCAAs to push UCLA ahead, kind of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory there for Missouri. But yeah, there's always, I mean, there's Bryce Drew, there's Danny Ainge, there's always something like that. So those individual performances are something to see as well.
And as you kind of go through this, another one, an individual performance that kind of, no, I'm not. I'm going to pivot from that. Actually,
pivot.
I can't bring myself to do it.
Okay.
I'll save that for an honorable mention later because I just can't do it to you. It'll make sense later.
All right.
The year is 2001, and the teams are Hampton and Iowa State. Really, kind of the first big. I think that was the first 15 to ever win. And if not the first, it was maybe the second or certainly by far the third.
Yeah, early.
And 2001, Steve Merfeld, I'm sure everybody remembers the name. You may not recognize that guy or you may not know that guy or what he's doing currently, but you will never forget the image of his team just picking him up and he's just kicking and screaming and thrashing his legs about.
I can tell you who else will never forget that image. Larry Eustace.
Yes, the coach for Iowa State.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was one for me, and I was still in high school back then, and that's just one of those moments where you're just like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. You thought there's no way that Iowa State, who's at Marcus Pfizer back in the day, and those guys, you're just thinking there's no way they're going to lose.
Well, there's no way a 2 is going to lose to a 15, right?
You're just thinking it can't happen. And that's what just kind of sets off this love affair for this tournament and kind of really just encapsulates it in so many ways, is that the unimaginable becomes imaginable for these couple weeks.
And just like there's no way a 2 is going to lose to a 15, there's no way a 1 is going to lose to a 16, right?
Not for quite a long time after that.
Unless you are Virginia in 2018 and you're playing Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC. First ever men's 16 over a 1. And now, sidebar. If somebody told you, your team is going to win a national championship, but they have to lose as a 1 the year before, are you good with that?
I'm taking that all day. If you're going to guarantee me that, yeah, absolutely, I'll take that. Unless I'm a senior, obviously, on that team. Or I'm a senior that goes to that school because, you want to win it while you're there. But yeah, I would take that all day, 6 ways to Sunday, but that's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what happened. What else you got?
Next on the list, I'm a little partial to this one. The year is 2006. I was a freshman at MTSU. We had a massive bracket on campus through Facebook, which was still college only back then, which was really cool though. But we had a massive bracket. And I was one of the few people that in the Sweet 16 predicted that UCLA would defeat the juggernaut Gonzaga team with Adam Morrison. And so guys like Jordan Foramar, Luke Mbah-a-Moute, and those guys, they pull off the upset. UCLA ends up going to the Final Four. I believe loses to Florida during one of their great runs right there. But you'll never forget the images. Adam Morrison at least won't forget the images. Absolutely emotional, reduced to tears at the end. And so I got UCLA over Gonzaga. Not pictured in that is me running up and down the dorm room just screaming, and everybody else is saying, why are you so crazy right now? It's because UCLA had stunned Gonzaga right there in a dramatic comeback.
And UCLA stunning Gonzaga in and of itself over, the broad landscape of college basketball. That in itself is pretty wild. But yeah, in that moment, it was an upset.
And still we sit here, 2024 and Gonzaga been so close. There's been a couple other great opportunities, and we just have not seen the Bulldogs pull it off.
So close. I'm going to shift gears just a second because this has really been a male-dominated top 5. But I'm going to give you 1 year after winning a championship with the most losses of any NCAA Division I women's basketball championship, the 1998 Tennessee Lady Vols came back and went undefeated 39-0.
Now that is big time.
After going 29-10 and winning it the year before. That was when they won 3 straight, 96, 97, 98. That 98 team, again, 29-10. Lost in like the SEC either semifinals or quarterfinals, and then didn't lose again.
Go on a run.
But the next year, didn't lose at all. Impressive.
And even we've seen teams like South Carolina, it can be done, but just like we saw last year, I mean, it is tough to pull off an undefeated season.
It really is. And Pat and her crew did. You're last. You have picked 4 previously, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got 1979, we've got R.J. Hunter, we've got Hampton, Iowa State, we've got UCLA, Gonzaga.
Okay.
Last pick, what about old school, just Jimmy V, NC State versus Houston? I mean, that's one of those classic ones. Again, a clip that's going to live forever and forever as they defeat what perceived as, a massive juggernaut, and they make a lock, if you will, and they make the run, and that's kind of sets up the Cinderella. Not just can you win a game, but we see a quote-unquote Cinderella win the title, which is another kind of the big allure of this thing that we've got right here.
I was watching that game in like the commons area of my dorm at Lambeth College down in Jackson. And, Derek Wittenberg puts up that heave right at the end that's going to fall short, and up out of nowhere comes Lorenzo Charles, grabs it, puts it in, ball game. And then you get the Jim Valvano running around like he's crazy. And understandably so.
I mean, to win, is there any cooler moment potentially to win on a last second dunk practically?
I can't imagine. If there is, that's certainly up there. I have so many Blue Raider moments to pick from. I'm going to go with the first one, I guess, and we've talked about it here on this show over the last little bit. MTSU 50, Kentucky 44 in the 1982 opening round down at Memorial Gym at Vanderbilt. Again, I was a high school senior and was fortunate enough me and 3 friends had tickets, and everybody was trying to buy them from us as we were going in, because if Kentucky had won, it would have been Kentucky and Louisville, and they never played each other back then. And they didn't play that year?
Nope. So, yeah, you said you were offered $100+ for a ticket?
I think 300 actually.
Ooh,
I
man.
mean, yeah, my folks would have kicked my tail if they had known that I did not sell a basketball ticket for $300.
But and those are the games, obviously, that you'll never forget.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what makes it all, it's like the Goodwill scene from Goodwill Hunting, where he ends up going, except he would go to the baseball game in this case. You went to the game, and you'll never forget that moment.
No, I won't forget the hot dog wrapper that I threw at Jim Master at the free throw line when Kentucky was up 3-0 either, 8-0. But yeah. It's fun, and it's good that people have the opportunity to see these kind of things, contrary, again, to Southeastern Commissioner Greg Sankey.
Yeah. Real quick, honorable mention for me, both involve Duke, Christian Laettner with the heave, and then I still have dreams where Gordon Hayward's half-court shot goes in and Duke loses. That's really a nightmare when I see that the ball rims out every time.
That would set off a USA
that would
chant.
that would get the patriotism going anytime Duke loses, for sure.
That's going to do it for us here on Main Street Sports today. That's our Top 5 Tuesday, again brought to you by Mid-South 5 Fitness, Franklin, Columbia. Check them out, Steel Athletes. Tomorrow, Teresa Walker and Heather Williams will be joining us. You join us at 2 o'clock. See you.